From KUNC and the NPR network, this is In The NoCo. I'm Erin O'Toole. A solar panel that collects energy from the sun while also helping farmers grow bigger, tastier tomatoes and other crops. A team of scientists at the National Renewable Energy Laboratory in Golden, or NREL, say that's exactly what they've developed. And this new type of solar panel could lead to better produce and more widespread solar power generation. For context, some farmers already place solar panels on their land and grow crops alongside them. It's a practice called agrivoltaics. But the new panels designed by NREL are translucent, meaning they allow certain frequencies of light to pass through and reach crops planted beneath the panels. In fact, NREL scientists actually used the solar panels as the roof and walls of a greenhouse during their experiments. Brian Larson is NREL's principal researcher on this study. He talked with me about the solar panels and how too much sunlight is actually less than ideal for crops.
We get a lot of sunlight here in Colorado, and that sunshine can be pretty intense, especially in the middle of summer. It also contains a wide range of frequencies of light that the plant doesn't actually use for productivity. So at a certain point in the day, plants are kind of tired out from the sun. They've gotten their full dose. They don't really need any more. So we've designed these solar panels in a way that collects the harmful frequencies or the non-needed frequencies, converts that into electricity, but it passes through the frequencies that the plant needs to just carry out its normal function in life, like making us food.
How tough was it to filter out just the harmful frequencies?
So that's the key of sort of our invention here. We have been studying organic semiconductors for a very long time, which are the compounds that go into these solar panels. And we've been studying their optical properties for a very long time, and we use an algorithm to selectively combine different materials to transmit exactly the frequencies or the spectrum of light that the plant needs. So we call that biomatching.
Huh, interesting. And Brian, why did your team decide to use tomatoes for this study?
Well, everybody loves tomatoes, so we were all happy to eat what we grew. But in reality, tomatoes are some of the most economically important crops that are grown in greenhouses currently. And we chose a particular variety called the trust species that is the most economically important greenhouse tomato. That way, when we had the results in hand, we would have direct industrial relevance to people who may want to do or consider adopting this type of technology in the future.
And your team liked the way your tomatoes tasted. What was it like when the team compared them to store-bought tomatoes?
We did like them. And everyone loves their own baby. But in this case, we did it fully blind. We had a comparison to a tomato that was grown by us, but not under these types of spectrally filtered light. And then we bought a couple of, let's just call them industry standards from an organic grocery store. We'll just put it at that, not to drop any names.
Okay.
And we did a blind taste test. We expanded it out to the team. And hands down in both the taste tests, our biomatch tomatoes were determined to be the tastiest.
Huh. Man, if only all research projects could end in a, delicious taste test.
I agree. It's nice to be able to eat what you make in the lab. That's not normal.
Let's talk about the solar cells that you've designed to do this. They certainly don't look or work like the solar cells we see on people's rooftops or those giant arrays of solar panels we see in fields. How are these different from the solar panels that we're familiar with?
So these use a different type of semiconductor to actually absorb and convert the light into electricity. They're organic semiconductors, and they're the only type of solar panels that contain these compounds and these materials. That's the key feature to make them spectrally transparent. So they can be tailored and designed to let any wavelengths and frequencies of light directly through them. The types of solar panels you see in your house or out in fields, those have broadband shade. They absorb everything. But in this case, you could look underneath, and a plant would see exactly the spectrum of light that it wants coming through that panel directly. So the key feature here is that instead of having to share land when you put these near or around plants, you can put them directly over plants and grow them underneath, which isn't possible by any of the other technologies.
You developed these solar cells to serve as the outside walls of greenhouses. How could this technology make our food production more sustainable?
Yeah, that's something I'm really excited about. Because if you think about growing food and having food production where we need to consume it, it becomes really challenging for everyone to get the things that they want to eat because they often have to come from all over the world where things grow naturally.
Right.
But if we use controlled environment agriculture, essentially growing things in greenhouses, we have the ability to grow anything we want almost anywhere we want. Problem with that is it's really expensive to control a farm area or an agricultural operation.
Sure.
When you add in the electricity production from the solar panels and you still allow the light to pass through for those plants inside to be just as productive as if they were in a regular greenhouse, suddenly it becomes more economical to now grow things that we want to eat directly where we consume them. And it's a new possibility with this concept.
We mentioned farmers already often place solar panels on their farmland alongside their crops. Farmers right now who place solar panels on their land often do it to subsidize their farming, meaning they can collect money for generating energy while they grow crops. How do you think these panels you've developed might change that equation?
My hope is, and what all of our research shows, is that there won't have to be as big of a decision between usage of a finite amount of land that a farmer might have to generate income with solar energy production, so electricity production, and crop production, to where it's a A plus B equals C equation. With this type of a technology, there really is a value stacking rather than a value sharing, because the land can be used 100% for the farmer's needs to generate profit off of the crop yields. But then everything on that same square footage of land or square acreage or whatever it is can also generate income, additional income on top without having to sacrifice plant yields. So you get plant yields and energy yields on the same piece of land.
Brian, I'm just curious if, let's say, farmers do decide to kind of adopt these, is it going to look different when I'm driving by, rolling farms?
It will. And actually, to your eyeballs, you would see hues of pink, light purple, purple pink. And to the plants, they would just see the most beautiful light that they've ever seen in their lives. But to us, it would be a pinker planet. We covered all of the land in these panels.
Brian Larson is a researcher with the National Renewable Energy Laboratory in Golden. He says NREL is already working to bring to market the translucent solar panels his team developed. We'll have more on those panels in the show notes and at KUNC.org. That's it today for In The NoCo. I'm Erin O'Toole. Thanks so much for listening.